Good morning, Met fans. Happy Saturday to you. How you doing? Well, last night we lost a tough one, 2-1 to the Mariners. Max Scherzer got off to a roaring start, pitched well. Just wasn't in the cards yesterday. Drew Smith threw his first clunker of the year in relief, and the Mets ended up losing the ball game 2-1. Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil hit some solid shots yesterday that just didn't have enough juice to carry. Now, the atmosphere in the ballpark, the air in the ballpark was a little heavy. That had a lot to do with it. But is it the dead ball era in baseball again revisited? We'll be discussing that in the podcast. Balls definitely aren't traveling the way they were in the past. And we have an audio clip of Buck Showalter explaining what he feels about the dead ball situation. Interesting outtake on Buck. And what he has to say about it. What else is going on in the podcast? Well, we got a whole lot of stuff. Just trying to scrape the tip of the iceberg here. One of the other things we're discussing is the Mets' contact-heavy approach to hitting. They seem to be getting the right hits at the right time, not necessarily relying on the long ball. But with all the stats out there this year, we're basically a statistically driven sport now where the numbers don't lie. Is that enough to have the Mets be successful for 162 games? It looks like we're in the hard hit era where when you hit balls at least 95 miles per hour, you hit 500 for an average and 800 for a slugging percentage. And the Mets aren't really doing that, but they are winning. They're getting the key hits at the right time. Their hard hit percentage rate is 27th out of 30 in baseball. But is that sustainable during the course of the year? We break it all down for you and tell you, is it or isn't it? It'll be very interesting to see what happens over the 162, but I have my opinion on that. I'll give you a little hint. I think it's a combination of both. You have to have both. Because in the postseason, if you rely on just hard hit balls, it does not work out for you. And I give concrete examples of teams that won the World Series who were basically contact driven in the playoffs that succeeded. And the Mets are in good shape because they're a pitching, defensive oriented team first. Oh, don't get me wrong. They're offensive. They can hit the ball, but maybe not the way other teams do when they hit these mammoth home runs and hit the ball 100 miles an hour plus all the time. So don't panic, Met fans. I'm just going to tell you the pros and cons of both sides of the fence on that today. What else are we talking about? We're talking about our good friend Kumar Rocker. He's back in organized baseball, and he's looking to get drafted again. Don't look for the Mets to draft him. The Mets do have 2 first-round picks, though, this year, and that's going to help lay the foundation again for the Mets in the future, and I'm looking forward to that. What else do we have? As always, we have trivia, birthdays, Jeopardy, transactions on this date, what we can look forward to in the game tonight. So much good stuff, as always. So check out the podcast. You won't be disappointed. Once again, it's New York Mets Baseball Way of Life, the podcast. And if you're not a member of the Facebook group, New York Mets Baseball Way of Life, check it out. We have great content. I think it's one of the best groups out there, period. We don't have the usual nonsense that's in other groups where people bicker and just try to make a statement for the sake of make a statement. If you're a serious Met fan, and that's who we have in that group, you need to be in that group. You want to talk trash? Don't join. But if you're a serious Met fan, please do join. And as always, if you need to reach out to me, I'm at philstan41@gmail.com. That's it for today. We'll be back with the recap of tonight's game tomorrow and everything else that's going on in Metland tomorrow for you, as always. Enjoy the day today. It's the weekend. Everybody works for the weekend, so enjoy the weekend. And enjoy the big Met game today. Chris Bassett on the mound. It's a 7:05 start. And it's Pete Alonso bobblehead doll for all you bobblehead freaks out there. So let's go Mets, and we'll talk again tomorrow.